My truth is I'm a young man from a small city with big dreams.
My truth is that you come out, you roll your sleeves up, and you go in the community like I do. And you say, listen, what can I do to help?
And my truth is these are interesting times we're living in America because the next generation are definitely the ones to watch.
When I look around each day, I see resilience, I see beauty, I see hope. But I think most importantly, what I see is truth.
First Extra TruthTeller is made possible through a grant from the State of Delaware and the C.E. Bennett Foundation, and
Nemours Cardiac Center at Nemours Alfred I. DuPont Hospital for Children. Your child, our promise.
and through the generous support of viewers like you. Thank you.
What is your truth? It's not an easy question, as one Wilmington woman knows. Her name is Chiffon Taylor, and she's creating a story-sharing platform called the TruthTellers Project, where folks can share their personal stories. Maybe you've seen Chiffon. She's been scouring the region with her camera, inviting strangers and friends alike to share their truth. One of her friends is Ashley Biden, the daughter of the vice president. WHYY followed Chiffon, documenting her story as she builds the website where you can tell yours. Here's our WHYY First Extra TruthTeller.
Hey, Chiffon, how are you? How are you?
Come on in. There's always this fear people will want to listen to you if they care about your story, if your story is important. Still now I'm questioning whether or not it matters. Okay, let's do it. Who is Chiffon? That's a good question. I think when I think about who Chiffon is, she is someone who has survived a lot. I was born to my 17-year-old single mother trying to raise a child at 17 is a very hard thing to do. So my grandparents took a very active role. They live on the north side of Wilmington. There was a lot of crime. Like, there were shootings, there were, guys who sold drugs, across the street. I didn't meet my father until I was 3. Prior to my being born, he was sent to prison. Good to see you.
I see you.
Again. Thanks so much for
Sure.
agreeing. Okay, let's get you at the desk, and then we can get to rolling. So I know you have a city to save. Walter, he is a sergeant with the Wilmington Police Department, and he has been with the force for 25 years. What's your official title?
It's Master Sergeant.
Master Sergeant.
Walter Ferris.
Why do you say it like that?
Because you're a civilian, I'm Walt.
I don't know any police officers outside of yourself. And, there's this instinctual distrust of communities like the ones that I come from. So I'm curious, what does that, that dichotomy, look like for you as you try to police a community that, doesn't necessarily trust the system?
Some people don't know me, view me as, an occupying army. That, you're there only to oppress and to drag people off to jail. I have a very strong faith. I converted to Catholicism in 2000. Being part of that faith has changed a lot, how I view people. So when I do get that kind of pushback, I just look beyond, pray for them and keep moving. And there have been years of maybe cops not treating people well in these areas, so you have to overcome that.
One of the reasons that I wanted to talk to Walter is because he loves Wilmington. I also wanted to know who Walter was. Who's just Walter? What's under the top layer, and what's under that layer, and then what's under the 20th layer? What's your life like outside of the Wilmington Police Department?
I volunteer a lot. I've been taking African drum lessons the past few weeks. So I try to, I'm sure I drive people crazy, but I like learning new things and staying, fresh.
You're married?
Mm-hmm.
For how many years?
26.
And so you've been married as long as I've been alive, see? And you have children.
I got 3 children.
So I grew up in a household being the only kid there. I was kind of dealing with, the struggling relationship that, I had with my mother, and the almost non-existent, relationship that I had with my father. In the 3rd grade, my teacher at that time, Miss Murray, she pulled me to play Ruby Bridges, the first little black girl to integrate a school. And 2 things happened. Art became very dear to my heart, but I think that even in the 3rd grade, my love for people and, my dedication to the injustices, there was a heightened awareness of that. So is there anything else that anyone should know about Walter Ferris?
But I know there are a lot of decent people, and so that's who you fight for. So, and I have a different approach now. It's like, instead of trying to lock people, throwing them, getting rid of them, I want them to change without prison, without arrest.
Awesomeness.
Oh, and there might be another Ferris joining the force.
Your son?
Yeah, he's in the process.
It was very much a comfort zone push to really want to know the human side of Walter. I think there were a lot of questions that I still wasn't able to ask. And I think one of the more interesting things, outside of him playing the African drums, which is crazy to me, is that his son is in the process of joining the force. I'm wondering, how that must feel for him, for his son to want to continue his legacy in that way. I started in a couple plays when I was in high school, and I found so much of myself on those stages. I did my very last show at the Wilmington Drama League, and October of that year, which was 2007, my grandmother was like zipping up, my dress before we were about to go to my cousin's 30th birthday party, and she said to me, she said, "Are you pregnant?" And, I just turned around to her and I said, "I am." And she zipped my dress up and she said, "Okay, we'll figure it out." We went on to the party. And then January of that following year, I gave birth to a 8-pound, 7-ounce baby boy. There was no way in the world I was going to be able to, be in the theater every night. I applied with Public Allies Delaware, which is a nonprofit leadership a program here in the state, and I wound up serving with the Wilmington Hope Commission. I worked very specifically with children that had a parent in prison, and one of the little girls in our program, she asked me, if I had ever been a little girl just like her. And I'm like, of course. Like, I had missing front teeth and I had ponytails that kind of stuck out. And she said, "No, like, were you ever a little girl like me? Like, did your daddy ever go to jail?" What I had to say to her was, this doesn't dictate, who you are as a person. This doesn't become your story. This isn't it. The story isn't you're the daughter of a man who went to jail. I knew at that moment I wanted to create a platform where we could share untold, undertold, and mistold stories.
The TruthTellers project is very uncharted territory. I don't have like a background in like journalism or like I don't know anything about mass comm in terms of video production. I don't know about any of that stuff. But one of the things that I've been really great at is having conversations with individuals and making sure that they're in a space where they feel like their voice is important, where they feel like their voices matter. So our next interview is with Jason. Jason and I met through a mutual friend, and I was just really intrigued by his energy, by his story.
So Jason is actually, he is the founder of Fly Yogi, which is a yoga studio in downtown Wilmington.
She's wild. That's like you.
See? That's me? Yeah. You should name her Chiffon. You totally need to name her Chiffon. Cool. So where do you feel comfortable?
Wherever.
I like this thing right here is kind of speaking to me. Right here? Hopefully very soon, all of my video content will be launched on the TruthTellersProject.org.
You can place both hands on the outside of the tripod. Slowly bring the buttocks toward the heels.
You are so crazy. You are a mess. Individuals will be able to log on to this digital database and get whatever story they need at that moment. So tell me how you wound up in Delaware.
I ended up in Delaware after falling flat on my face, making some of the worst choices of my life. And I was left with nowhere else to go, and I left. I left everything. I left my job, I left my car, I left my family, I left everything. And looked for the unknown. I didn't have an idea what Delaware could be. And it's been so good to me because it gave me the space I needed to reflect on my life. And living in the Bronx and living in New York City and hustling every day that you wake up can take a toll on you. I went completely opposite and started meditating and started being a weirdo.
And I think one of the things that you pointed out is that you are a black male, and we often do come from communities where it's just like, you want me to get on the mat and do what?
Yeah, I get all the time.
You want me to put my leg where? The way that you've kind of just championed wanting other men to embrace it. Tell me a little bit about why that's so important.
Yoga for me is being okay with who you are, being committed to something bigger than yourself, building relationships with people. It doesn't even have to look like stretching on the mat. It can look like just being a good mother.
I work 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, as a communications professional. And there are some days that are great, and I feel like I have completely just kind of grabbed the day by the horns and completely conquered it. And then there are other days, sitting on the edge of the bed, trying to figure out how I'm going to figure it all out. So this is my first place. Me and Aiden moved from my grandparents' house, which was a bit of an adjustment to moving here and it just being the two of us. And, you think you're super independent until like you're paying rent and you're like, oh, I have an electric bill. But then also like an adjustment for Aiden. I mean, I think he was very used to always being in a space where there was family.
Gotcha.
You win. Stronger than me.
Did you let me win?
Never. I would definitely say that moving has impacted TruthTeller's project. Not all negative, but in terms of time, it was easier to leave work, go home, and my grandmother had already cooked, as opposed to having to tend to Aiden and make sure he gets in the bed and does homework and reads a book and kiss him goodnight. I'm like super tired come 9 o'clock. Right now, the TruthTeller Project has a very big to-do list. At the top of that to-do list is finishing up the website. And I think next on that list is to figure out how to bring the TruthTeller Project to a physical space. So we are about to go chat with Michael Kalmbach. He is the head of the Creative Vision Factory here in Wilmington. So we're going to meet with him to talk about how the Creative Vision Factory can act as an incubator for the TruthTellers Project. But I also shot my first trailer for the project here. Michael opened up this space and I shot the trailer for untold, undertold, and mistold stories expressed through multimedia and art. So it's super windy out here today, and my hair is not blowing in the wind because I don't have any. Sometimes there are extensions, and sometimes there are not. So don't be alarmed if one day I have hair and the next day I don't. So, you and I had a conversation, oh gosh, a year and a half ago, and I came to you with this crazy idea about the TruthTellers Project, and you were super excited for it. And you said, go do Wilmington Stir. Wilmington Stir is an initiative of the Public Allies Alumni Council, and it's like a mini grant kind of crowdfunding dinner, and whoever wins walks away with some money. And I presented the TruthTellers Project that night for the first time ever in front of anyone. And I didn't win the money, but it was an awesome experience. Yep. It was good to stand in front of an audience and finally, you know, talk about this vision that was kind of in my head for so long. So I'm definitely appreciative of you kind of like pushing me off the ledge.
Well, I think Stir does that, and I think that, you know, like if you really want to get something out of the dark and do it, you got to like go out there and tell on yourself and get it out there, and then you enter the realm of accountability. You've said you want the Creative Vision Factory to kind of act as an incubator for other community projects. Can we talk about how the TruthTellers Project can kind of rest in this space? You know, the studio can launch all kinds of different things, and I think the thing that's important to maintain is just to allow whatever happens to happen. So you're saying, Chiffon, just come back and show up, is what you're saying? Just show up. It's such an artist answer. No, we are not going to write a proposal or anything like that. Just show up. I can do that. I can just show up. So when I say that I want to share the stories of people, I have to go find them. And hopefully there'll be some traffic through Rodney Square today, and there'll be some folk who want to talk to me. What a jerk. So let's try to get away from the speaker, which kind of sucked because it would have been good to go down there. Let's hog this bench.
What's your truth, huh?
What's your truth? Yeah. Do you have one?
Truth or consequences?
There are no consequences. I always want people to feel like they can be vulnerable. So tell me your name.
My name is Raymond Genther. I just celebrated 28 years sober. I got a 28-year sobriety coin that is being fixed for me so I can wear it as a medallion. Sobriety has been the best thing for me now. I enjoy my life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So I feel like it's gonna be hard now. She's like, oh, I want to talk to you. I'm like, oh, do you? I'm hoping that the rest of the day is as easy.
Truth about what?
What's my story?
You would have to tell me.
About Wilmington?
About you.
Oh, I'm crazy.
Are you interested in doing an interview?
Oh, no, thanks. Some other time.
Thank you. See, nobody wants to be on TV. I don't get it.
Nobody wants to talk to me. I feel like there should be more people out here. My top 2 reasons for rejection were, 1, I have to go to work, and the second objection was I don't want to be on camera. I get it.
There have absolutely been a number of moments where I have denied my story, and I did not want to be the poster child for adult children that had an incarcerated parent. You know, story sharing is, you know, not just about telling the details that you think people are going to love. It is about telling the parts that you want, that you absolutely want to deny.
I was incarcerated for a period of time, and I've been able to fight through that.
You feel like you're ready? All right.
I think that as I continue to interview individuals, they remind me why the platform is so important. They have no idea who I am. They have no idea about my project. They have no idea what I'm going to do with this material. But they believe that their stories and their voice is important.
So right now, I am headed to the home of Ashley Biden. She has agreed to do an interview for the TruthTeller project. Ashley Biden is the daughter of our Vice President, Joe Biden, which is crazy exciting. Ashley and I met maybe about 5 years ago. Ashley, at that point, was working at the Delaware Division of Services for Youth, Children, and Their Families. And I was really blown away at her humility, her commitment to service.
Hey, lady! How are you? Oh, you look beautiful.
So do you. Makeup is popping.
Yeah,
The
well,
lipstick.
I mean, I tried. I did the best I could do.
Your hair, I can't remember the last time I've seen your hair like.
Well, I got my hair did.
I got
Fully
my hair
curled
did.
like
I
that.
cannot do my hair, you know that.
I agreed to be part of the Truth Tellers project because of my deep love and respect for Chiffon. I'm a private person, but I love her, and she's a good friend.
How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling good.
How are you feeling about the interview?
I'm feeling rested and like I'm ready to tell the truth.
So tell me what it is that you do currently.
I am the executive director of the Delaware Center for Justice.
And what is the Delaware Center for Justice?
We're a nonprofit organization that works with youth and adults who have been impacted by the criminal justice system.
How did like social work and all things justice become Ashley?
I, grew up with a father who was a public servant, grew up with a mother who was a public school teacher. So I was exposed, I think, at a very young age to people from all walks of life. Senator Margaret Rose Henry actually sat down with me. I was 18 and said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to work with, kids, and particularly kids who are living in poverty.
I know for me, I don't think I have the emotional capacity to work in direct service.
It's difficult. There are days where I am like, why couldn't I, have opened up a flower shop? Why do I have to have so much passion? But it is what it is, and I think it's truly in my DNA.
What is, or what are some misconceptions that you think people have about you as Ashley Biden, right?
That I like to public speak. That I like public speaking.
Don't put this on.
That I think it truly, one of the biggest misconceptions is that like I'm great at public speaking and it just comes naturally, and You know, I mean, I really practiced. And when I say mean practice, I forced myself because I didn't like public speaking. And I'm sure people have a lot of misconceptions of who I am. But I hope that when they get to know me and they actually meet me, that they form their opinion based on their interactions with me and how I made them feel.
What is it that you wanted to expose as your truth?
It's a hard question.
I've been easy on you.
I know you have been easy on me. What is my truth? It's a hard question. My truth is that I'm vulnerable. Yet courageous. That I truly see the light, the beauty in all people, even those that society has written off. My truth is that I feel sometimes the weight of the world on my shoulders, but I refuse to give up, and I will continue to fight for true justice and equality for all.
I thought that was good.
That just came.
I was surprised at how open she was willing to be, and I'm definitely appreciative of her willingness to be so open. So onward with the TruthTeller Project, to be continued. I don't know what the TruthTellers Project will become, and I think, you know, that's the beauty and the fear of all of this. It has the ability to evolve into whatever it wants to become.
The TruthTellers Project has launched online and awaits your eyes, your ears, and of course, your story. Check it out online at thetruthtellersproject.org. See more of Chifon's interviews at WHYY.org. Thank you for tuning in to WHYY's first extra, TruthTeller.
First Extra TruthTeller is made possible through a grant from the State of Delaware and the C.E. Bennett Foundation. And
the Center for Sports Medicine at Nemours Alfred I. DuPont Hospital for Children. Your child, our promise.
through the generous support of viewers like you. Thank you.